Hey everyone, it's Nick Knott. How's everyone doing? So it's kind of late on Wednesday night, and I wanted to make this video really quick in regards to my Unico Nova Blast candy cabinet pre-order. So we just got an email that came in through that regards uh, some images that were leaked by Unico, and that showed headphone jacks and DB15 ports on the front control panel. I don't know why a lot of people flipped out about this. Apparently, you're not allowed to have ports or whatever. Apparently, ports are evil. I get aesthetically, maybe some people don't like the idea of having them on there, but at the same time, does that really hurt anybody? I mean, it already doesn't exactly 100% look like a Sega cabinet, so I mean, if it deviates a little bit, is it really that bad? Having DB15 ports in the front would actually be fairly convenient, especially for people like my wife who, frankly speaking, are not familiar with an arcade control port, and might be easier to play some of her Neo Geo games that she likes to play with one of our Neo Geo CD controllers. So they released a poll. They did ask that I did not share this link, frankly, because if you have the link, then you can vote. And I want to keep this just to people who are pre-ordering it like me. A lot of people are, I don't know if it's fake pissed. You know how people are on the internet where like, it's like Twitter drama sort of shit, right? It's like no one in fucking real life is talking about this, but like 50 uber nerds on Twitter are like, I don't know, ripping their shirts off and screaming. So apparently it's the worst thing in the world, and this influences major decisions. So hopefully this is just going to be kept to the people who actually spent like over $1,000 on this thing. But basically they sent out a poll, and it says, keep or remove DB15 and headphone jacks from your Nova Blast pre-order. There's a private poll being emailed to you via support@unicousa.com. Please do not share this link verbally or on social media, as it would compromise the integrity and value your opinion, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, long story short, they gave you, I was number 36 to vote. There's now been 38 people as of a couple minutes ago who have voted. They gave you 3 choices. I probably should have screenshotted that, but whatever, fuck off. I did it on my phone. It is what it is. The 3 choices were to either remove it completely and keep the candy cab as it was in the photos that were being shared out. Put the ports on the rear, the headphone jacks and the DB15 ports on the rear of the bar top, or leave them on the front as the unit had showed. Now, personally speaking, I understand the aesthetics. You don't want to have, I mean, DB15 ports are kind of ugly. So maybe some people don't want to have it there. I don't understand what's so hard about keeping them on the front and just, I don't know, creating some port covers that fills in the gaps. I mean, even if it was as 3D printed, I mean, is it really that bad? That's just my personal opinion. I voted to keep them on the front of the cab, personally. And let me explain as to why. Number one, while I don't intend to be using the DB15 or headphone jacks very often, more functionality is great. I don't understand why someone would not want this. What happens if you want to play a game and it's late at night, your wife is sleeping? You know, my choice is either the sound is pumping, I turn the sound down and have no sound, or I can put my headphones in. That sounds like a much better idea. And then, like I've already told you, with, you know, the use case of DB15 controllers is that it allows you to go ahead and have someone who maybe doesn't prefer having an arcade control set up with a fight stick play some other way. Or, you know, if you're like some sort of weirdo and you want to play like a Japanese Neo Geo Mahjong game and you want to use like the Mahjong controller, I guess that would be available to you. or any other number of accessories that would hook up that way. I don't know if they exist. I would assume that they do, but maybe you have like a USB to DB15 converter and you want to use that. Although there's USB ports internally, so I don't really understand what the importance of that would be, but you get my point. The reason why I did not vote to put them on the rear of the cabinet is simply because this cabinet isn't exactly small. It's basically the exact same size as a real Naomi cabinet, a Blast City, for example. And if you've ever owned a Neo Geo CD controller, the cords aren't exactly long. And while I understand that you're going to be sitting like right up against this to play, you know, with the arcade sticks, if you're just going to be using a controller, you might want to sit back. You might not want to be on top of the cabinet with the other player. So having them in a rear really limits your play. And then on top of that, like headphone jack wise, most of my headphones, the cord isn't exactly super long either. So to wrap around an entire arcade cabinet, I would either have to get an extension or I would have to find something specifically that was that cord length. My point is that like the only reason why you wouldn't want them on the front is for pure aesthetics. So I wish it was an option. I wish they had said, you know, we'll cover it with some rubber or plastic port covers. I think that would have been a great compromise, especially if they're in one little rectangle box recession where all three ports could be covered by one piece instead of it just being three separate jacks sitting there. But, you know, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? Hope you understand that I'm not wanting to go ahead and share this link out. I hope you agree with my decision. Because frankly, like I said, I don't want a bunch of people who are never going to want to buy this, who are just the type of people to angrily, you know, bitch on Twitter about shit that they don't really care about nor are financially interested in, to vote and skew something when it comes to a product that I've already put my money into. That aside, I will say this. I don't like this approach. I don't like this approach at all. First off, I think it's hysterical they can't even spell their own fucking product. Apparently now it's the Nova Blessed. But anyway, that's besides the point. Well, I understand what they're trying to do. I personally feel like, I mean, we're shipping in a fucking month. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're shipping in April. Like, as far as I'm concerned, keep it as is. Keep whatever the fuck you've done as is, because I want my fucking unit. I don't care if they're on the top of the fucking arcade cabinet at this point in time. I don't care if they're inside the cabinet, on the bottom. Whatever the hell you got, keep it as is. Why would I want to wait? Does anybody want to wait 3 months so they can change the mold on this thing and rewire the fucking wires or just remove it completely? I would like to think, which, I mean, this makes me really nervous if I had to be honest with you. I'd like to think that at this point in time, they've already started producing units. Hopefully? No? No units made, huh? Okay. Because there's no fucking way. If they're moving something like this, unless they're reproducing, you know, a front panel to block something or to include something, how the hell are you making your ship date? There's no way. There's no way at all. I don't see it happening. For those who don't know, I mean, I'm a designer. I'm attached directly to our warehouse. I create all of our package design and our product design. I'm very familiar with how long the process takes to fart out a product. This shit should be in from China right now. Either coming across the sea to be directly shipped to people or coming to a local warehouse to be directly shipped to people. Hell, at this point, I wouldn't feel very comfortable if this shit wasn't already in my possession or inside the border of this country, because customs takes a while too. I hope people see this for what it is. It's a very bad sign. This is a very, very bad sign. You should not be asking questions like this far in development. That's my thought. I think this is ridiculous. And I really hope a bunch of shrieking idiots aren't going to go ahead and push this thing back like a frickin' year, because the thought of seeing some frickin' headphone ports on the front, like, makes them fucking blow up inside. I mean, get over it. I really don't care. I really don't care. At this point, that's the reason why I voted to keep it as is. Because I don't want delays. If there were no ports, I'd be voting for that. Whatever the hell you got, however the way it is, leave it. I mean, at this point, this is like changing the technology on the JAMA connection edge. On the JAMA edge connection. Like, whatever you got, leave it. Whatever the hell it is. It's too late. You want to push out an update or whatever, or sell an accessory that goes along with it in the future, fine. But this is ridiculous. That's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Did you guys actually order one of these things? Did you not order one of these things, and yet you're more emotionally invested than the people who did order it? Like so many people on Twitter or X or it doesn't matter. Like, what's your thought? And if there was time to actually change this without delaying the product, what would you choose? Do you care? Do you think it's worth delaying this months and months and months simply to change this? Is this really that important to you? And if you didn't pre-order this, you know, imagine you ordered it. Imagine this is something that you spent over $1,000 on. How much would you really care 1 month away from launch? Let me know. Picnic not out.